Hello and welcome back to Trial of the Seven Kingdoms, and, well, in the previous episode we were awarded a rather wonderful fief in the form of Dragonstone. Yes, Dragonstone itself. I had no hand in taking it at all, and they decided to include me on the voting register, I guess you could call it. Anyway, we were very pleased about gaining that because it has now turned into a huge money maker, as you can no doubt tell. We have literal 521,000 gold now. That is all thanks to Dragonstone and its tariffs. As you can see right there, Dragonstone tariff is at 13,000, which is actually insane. And you also have Dragonstone itself giving us 2,500, and I have indeed increased the, shall we say, the quality and the quantity of the garrison in Dragonstone itself. So obviously that's pretty amazing. We're going to be able to make a pretty, well, impenetrable defense there, hopefully. And we have now also, or, well, shall we say, not me specifically, but apparently we have declared war, or someone has declared war. I'm not entirely sure whether it's Dorne or whether it's the Westerlands, but it seems like we are at war against Dorne now, which is actually kind of fantastic, because that means that we get to see some additional troops, and maybe I'm going to be able to take something. So, for example, we're going to attempt to take High Hermitage Castle here. And let's see what happens with that. So let's just build a couple of things. Let's build the siege, siege ram, siege towers, and all that. Oh, you're trying to attack me right away. Well, this is probably not the best idea for you, sir. I'm not entirely sure why he decided to do this. All things considered, I would have expected him to kind of relax a little bit because he only has 93 units, but apparently he really wants to do this. Okay, so why is it snowing in the desert? Is that just me? Or I don't know. Is that just me that thinks that that's kind of strange? It's snowing in the desert right now? I don't know. Maybe it's climate change. Who knows? Anyway, let's see what we can do here. Let's get our archers and our infantry all the way out here, and we're gonna go for a nice little loose formation, as we usually tend to do. And the enemy is not doing much. I mean, here's the funny thing about this. I have no idea why the opponent decided to even, start attacking us right here. So I don't know why they're being so cautious now. They're basically just standing all the way at the... Oh, they are all mounted. Alright. That's scary. Ow. Yeah, that hurt. Okay. Yeah, I could kind of tell that I was going to get murdered right there. Oh yes. Okay. So, I don't know whether you've noticed, by the way, but I have actually changed my, my shoulder piece, or as they like to call it, a cloak. I've changed my cloak now, so I'm now using something that is an actual cloak rather than a weird-looking sort of piece of clothing, I suppose you could say. I mean, personally, I don't really mind the look, but a lot of people were complaining about it for some reason. I mean, this is not a fashion simulator by any means, but I suppose maybe in the late game, maybe you want your character to look kind of cool on the inventory screen. I mean, to be fair, the cloth physics don't work in the inventory screens or anything like that, which I can 100%, understand why that isn't the case, because let's face it, it's not actually in the game. Technically, I mean, the inventory screen is a completely different entity to being in a battle or in a town or anything like that. You actually don't have your actual character in there, so I guess, it's just a kind of facsimile, I suppose. Oh, I should actually really change to my two-handed. There we go. That's much better. Okay, fantastic. Maybe I'm going to be able to do some damage here. My forces are having some rather interesting experiences at the moment. Can we kill this guy, please? Never mind. Okay, apparently I will not. Yes, there we go. I feel like my two-handed skill is not enough. I feel like it's still too slow. Maybe I need to make I don't know. I mean, I don't really have any smithing skill, do I? But yeah, I was about to say, maybe I should make something, Maybe I should make a weapon that's actually kind of decent, but don't think I really have any ability to do that. So I guess I'm just going to have to increase my two-handed weapon proficiency, to be honest. It feels like that's pretty much the only way I'm going to get something good going on there. Anyway, there you go. We actually took a very small amount of casualties. That's not surprising. No, I hate to tell you, Prince Akar, but you completely overestimated your abilities right here. I'm actually super surprised that he decided to do that in the first place, but if he wants to do it, then who am I to stop him? You know, I'm not gonna stop him, that's for sure. He can just, you know, throw himself on the spikes at my feet, I guess. I mean, if he wanted to do that, then, you know, that's up to him. And it's going to be kind of strange because I would assume that this other guy is also going to attack. No, he isn't. He actually waited. Okay, so he's a little bit smarter than the other guy. And I do actually have a siege ram. I wanted to get a siege tower out as well, but yeah, okay, we're going to have to do another fight here. Is it going to be the same map? It is the same map, kind of. It's not really the same map, but it is still snowing. I don't know. Tell me, those of you that are experts in Game of Thrones lore, does it snow in the deserts of Dorne? Because as far as I'm aware, that's kind of like a big contradiction, because deserts are, well, primarily kind of hot, right? I mean, with some exceptions, of course, but oh well, never mind. Okay, yeah, maybe you can let me know about that. I don't know. It's maybe a bit of a weird thing that is not actually accurate or anything like that. I'm not really one to be so nitpicky about the stuff like that, because generally the mod is still in development. Let's just remember that, yes, because, you know, some people might forget that it is still in development and they are still working on it, and there's going to be many updates, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can... Oh, did you see that? We got him. Yes, we got him, and he went flying. That's the kind of thing I want to see. Those are the kinds of situations I absolutely love. Whenever I can hit someone like that, it is just hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Can we get this guy? Yes, we can. Fantastic. Can I get this guy, though? No. Can I get this guy? Oh, no. He raised the shield at the last moment. But, oh, I've destroyed this guy's shield. See, now that's the kind of situation you're really pleased that you took that perk. You know, that perk that increases the damage that you deal to enemies' shields. That is definitely the one. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm taking massive damage as well. Bear that in mind. Any single time I am up against someone like the Azurai, because these guys are basically Azurai from what I can tell, but generally they have amazing thrown weapon proficiency. And any single time I'm up against someone that has decent thrown weapons and they're able to use them to good effect, oh, I might as well just sign my own death warrant now, because you saw how much damage that guy was able to do. He did like, what, 60-70% of my HP in one hit? Yeah, pretty crazy. Anyway, we're going to let these guys go once again, and I guess I will just swap my prisoners back out and back in, just so that I can get the highest tier of units. And then we're going to go over to my party screen in just a second as well, because we're almost ready to go in. Let's just level everyone up, and we'll continue the siege. Alright, so I'm just going to continue building some siege equipment. I'm a little bit worried about this, to be honest, because I don't really want to get attacked again, but I really also don't want to deal with going into a siege when I literally have 30% HP. I would much prefer to have a little bit more than that if I can help it. So let's see if we can just restore our own forces. Seems like we've got a huge amount of people in this area as well, which I gotta say is super nice to see, because without those reinforcements I would be consistently attacked again and again. So I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, I'm thinking of giving most of my relation, or shall we say most of my influence, to Sir Melwyn Sarsfield here, because I'm thinking he's not going to get it anyway, and I don't really mind too much about reducing my relation with the other clans, because generally relation is all that matters. And if you already have about 90 or so relation with those guys, you know, losing 3, losing 6, losing 12 or whatever doesn't really make that much difference. But gaining 50 or 60 with a particular fellow, that's definitely going to make a big impact. Alright, so I'm basically at 90% now. Let's do this. We do have another vassal coming in from the southwest, but thankfully we were able to get in here just in time. Alright, let's do this. Now bear in mind, obviously this is indeed Dorne, and we need to remind ourselves that these guys are very good with thrown weapons, so I need to be a little bit careful about where I go and what I do. But we're going to make sure that we just speed things up a little bit here, and we're going to see if we can get inside. Where am I? There we go, there we go. There's the siege tower. You know, I'm always in a little bit in two minds about whether I should actually even bother constructing 2 siege towers, because I think to myself, well, on the one hand, siege ladders are actually really, really effective, and they can be very useful. But on the other hand, I think, well, siege towers allow so many more people to get up here, and it makes a massive difference in the amount of units that you can, well, get onto the walls at any one time, and it really makes a pretty big difference in their effectiveness. This is interesting. Okay, wow, I gotta say, I actually really like the cloth physics. I think the cloth physics are super fun to see, especially these cloaks like waving in the wind, and you know, whenever an enemy attacks or whenever I attack, you can see my cloak sort of flowing behind me. I think that's really nice. I think they've done a great job on that. The Bannerlord devs, that is. You know, the cloth simulation is super nice. Actually, I'm unsure. Do they have cloaks in the base game? Because obviously I've been playing this entire time without cloth physics enabled, because obviously, as I said in a previous episode, I had to play with them disabled due to optimization issues early on in Bannerlord's development cycle. But nowadays, now it seems like I can play with it no problem at all. I'm not entirely sure what changed, but I guess they just made optimization changes and improvements, and that's obviously made a big difference. But I'm actually wondering now, do any of the units that you can get in the base game, do they have cloaks? Do they have cloaks? Do they have anything that can actually take advantage of the cloth physics? Because as far as I remember, I don't think they do. I mean, they might have a couple now, but maybe I don't know. As I say, maybe I just don't know, because I have never seen cloth physics being enabled. You know, I used to have it enabled at the very start, but I just lagged way too hard, so I decided to disable it. Anyway, we're going to just speed things up real quick. I'm going to run around the courtyard, do a little bit of cardio before we finish up this battle, and there we are. Fantastic. 135 renown. Oh yes, give me more of that. Oh yeah. Now, by the way, obviously we are very close to getting the next tier, right? Yes, we are very close to getting the next tier, and the capacity is exceeded. I'm going to take the horse, and I'm going to donate the rest, because, you know, we are already exceeding our limit. And then we're just going to wait here for some time so we can get our units back on their feet as fast as possible. And they are placing some units in the garrison here. Anyway, Titos Brax came over here and decided to place a whole bunch in there, which is really nice of him, to be honest. I mean, to be fair, I'm probably not going to be getting this either. This is not going to go to me. I mean, in a million years, this thing would go to me. There's no way. Okay, so let's have a look here. Titus Brax. I'm actually going to see if I can maybe get it to him. Nah, there's never... No way. No way. Not even if I spend 100 influence right there. But, oh well. Never mind. We did gain some relatively nice relation with him anyway, and he's going to definitely look after that very nicely. Okay, so we've already taken Kingsgrave, as you can see right there, so I can just... Well, it's basically a hop, skip, and a jump over there. I can sell all my prisoners for 13,000. They have anything in the marketplace? Yes, they do. They have a couple of things. And we're going to sell a couple. There we go. And that is basically that. Okay, do they have any horses, actually? Yeah, they do. They have a huge amount. Okay, this is great. So that means I can get a whole bunch of these. Let me see how my herd... Okay, my herd deficit is actually not the best. Wait a minute. It must be cows and... oh, okay. Apparently it's not cows. Okay, that's interesting. It must be just horses then, I suppose. But yeah, I kind of wanted to increase my capacity just a little bit. I should probably also return to Westerland's territory, but I'm so incredibly wanting to increase our territory size by doing some additional sieges. But you can see here that we're already, launching an attack against the Tor over there. And we are also potentially going to be taking Wyl Castle, which is just down there too. So maybe they're going to do that? No, they actually are not deciding to do that. 374 in Skyreach Castle. How many in Wyl Castle? 168. All right, we're going to be attacking this. Now, I'm going to go for a much quicker siege this time around, so I'm just going to build a siege ram, and that is it. Otherwise, we're just going to go for a couple of siege ladders. And the reason why I'm doing this, of course, is so that we can try to prevent the enemy from attacking us too quickly. And aha, there you are. Yes, exactly. That's the kind of thing I wanted to try and avoid, because literally almost 500 enemy units in that army right there. We really did want to try and avoid any kind of confrontation with that. They were going to be way too powerful for us. And I do need to return, as I said, to Westerland's territory to be able to recoup some of my losses. Anyway, let's get up here and see. Oh, hello there. Why are they coming down? Why are they coming down the ladder? That is probably the silliest idea that anyone could ever have. Literally facing your back to your opponent initially anyway. I mean, obviously that's pretty bad. You know, that's a pretty bad strategy to have in general, but then you've also got to consider that we have so many archers that are extremely good. Oh, they're actually throwing rocks at me at the moment. I'm actually going to jump down here. I don't have strong legs, unfortunately, yet, which is the perk. I don't have strong legs, so unfortunately I am going to be taking much more damage from falling than I otherwise would. And let me see if I can get up here instead. Yes, this is much easier. Okay, look at this. This is much better. Ooh, you're a guy with a rock. I will attempt to murder you, sir, because your friend on the other side was bombarding me with a bunch of rocks, and I did not appreciate it. Nice. Okay, yeah, I was just wanting to be really, really careful there, so I was just hanging back a little bit, just swinging at open air, basically, because I really did want to be ready for when that guy came around the corner. Nice, we knocked him down, and yep, can we get him? Yes, we can. Oh, that's a crush. Oh yeah, he's trying to do crush through blocks right there. I'm pretty sure that weapon that he was using was a crush through block weapon, and it probably would have killed me. Probably would have killed me. I mean, I've only got 34 HP remaining. It is more than likely that it would have been enough damage to take us down. Well, it looks like that's it. There we go. We were able to achieve victory, and we did end up losing 16 units, which I got to say is a little bit too high for my liking. And you may think, oh, well, why is that? You know, why is that such a big deal? Well, obviously the enemy is just about to attempt to retake this, and I'm kind of wondering whether I should even bother staying around. Because I'm thinking to myself, they have 929 combat strength. It is highly unlikely I'm going to be able to achieve any kind of victory here. Oh. I should have stayed in the walls, shouldn't I? Okay. Try to get away. 28. Wait, 47? What did I actually just give up? I have no idea what I just gave up, but okay, we're just going to leave here. And yeah, they're going to try and besiege that. I mean, that's the point. Here's the thing. I did not want to be in a situation where I was trapped, you see? So I had to make a very difficult decision on what I should do, because in the one instance, I stay inside the garrison there and I attempt to defend it against over 900 combat strength. That is, I'm gonna say kind of ill-advised. I would probably say relatively ill-advised. I don't think it's gonna be possible for me to be able to do that. Not with the amount of units that I had, because I had about 70 something units, and they have how many? 500 and something. I mean, I would say it's probably almost impossible for us to do that, considering most of our units are not even max level. I mean, there are a couple of people that we do have that are, and I think the majority that I have are max level, but I just have so few. I mean, you can see here, look at this. As soon as they are in the walls, we're basically dead, because we just have bowmen. That's it. We just have bowmen, we just have ranged units, and while we do have some, well, we have all high tier units, that actually doesn't make any difference, because if we are outnumbered, they're gonna die. They're gonna die no matter what. So it's kind of a shame, really, because I really did want to have a siege defense personally. I love siege defenses, you know me, I really, really enjoy those. But, oh, there we go, the Reach is now declaring war against us as well. But, I gotta say, I actually very much enjoy the fact that Dorne declared war against us. I actually think that that's super fun, because it's about time that we had some additional people getting stuck in and, actually interacting in the game world as well, because you've seen so far that we haven't really seen the North that much. And I think the main problem is that the AI just does not come down here. They're just thinking to themselves, we're perfectly fine up here. We're kind of just relaxing, dealing with everything we need to do up there. And that's it. That's all they decide to do. They really don't do anything else, which is, well, disappointing to say the least, because I personally would love to see a situation where the North and the Westerlands, if they remain the same, of course, because, I mean, at the moment, the combat strengths of both factions are, I would say, probably a little imbalanced at the moment, because they're way too strong. I would say, I personally think they're way too strong, but maybe, I don't know, maybe the way that Bannerlord works now, it's a little bit different than Warband, because obviously Warband, the Westerlands was not actually that strong. If I recall correctly, they had in A Clash of Kings specifically, they had very good gear. They had, because obviously they're very rich. Tywin is an extremely rich man, so he obviously has the ability to outfit his troops in some of the best possible equipment that money can buy. But then you've also got to think about the fact that the way that they were balanced is that the Lannister units were not that good in terms of their stats and attributes. So it was a much more balanced situation to be in. But that's the thing. I'm not entirely sure whether that's, the combat strength. I'm not entirely sure whether the combat strength is taking those kinds of intricacies into account, because there's a lot of difference between Bannerlord and Warband in the way that, attributes and stats work and everything. So it's a little bit up in the air. But as I've said, this is not the final, this is not the final product of the mod in any way. And there are so many things for the modding team to still do. And in my opinion, what they've done already is looking absolutely fantastic. But it is, of course, unfinished. And we've got to remember that. We have to remember that this is not a, final thing. And you've also got to bear in mind, this is completely free. I think a lot of people do tend to forget that, when you're playing a mod or playing something that has been worked on for free, whether that even be a game, you got to remember that that is a free resource, a free piece of media, and that's amazing in itself. You know, the amount of passion that is required for someone or a group of people to basically, you know, supply this fun experience for no cost is pretty amazing, right? I mean, I think that's super cool. But you got to remember that that's also you know, a big reason why you can't be too harsh. I would say I don't think it's a good idea to be too harsh in that case, because again, this is all to do with passion. It's not a you know, it's not a product that is being created by, you know, I don't know, a big AAA studio or whatever, that have millions upon millions of you know, dollars worth of funding and things like that. It is literally a case of a small team doing things for the sheer passion for the game, and I think that that's a wonderful thing, absolutely wonderful thing. And that's also the reason why I continually say you can't really be too harsh with these people, because again, it's completely free. You know, it's not like you paid anything for it, right? Anyway, I think that's probably going to be it for this episode, and we're going to hopefully be able to take these things finally, because this is the thing. I've wanted to take these particular castles for a very long time, and I'm hopeful that Tywin is actually going to head over here in just a second. Wow, I have so many different perks to spend. Actually, before we end this episode off here, I'm gonna level up my perks a little bit here and select some, and we're gonna see what we can get. Okay, so this is fantastic. This is another one of those steward skills. Personally, think these are one of the better perks, and personally, this kind of perk is amazing in my opinion. I think this is absolutely fantastic. Discarded weapons can be donated to troops for increased experience. I love that. Really, really cool. And we also have increased settlement prosperity by +1 every day, and get a 20% healing bonus in towns. Yes, I will take that. Thank you very much. That's our 150 medicine perk. And then otherwise we have Fervent Attacker and Stout Defender. I'm actually going to be taking Stout Defender. I personally prefer that. And we are then going to go for Traveling Rumors or Local Connection. Personally, I don't think it really matters. I'm going to go for Traveling Rumors, though, where your caravans gather trade rumors, and you also have a 15% decrease in buy price penalty from villages. Yeah, that is an absolutely... that is worthless, in my opinion. I mean, at least at this point in the game, even if I was playing the regular game, it would still be kind of pointless. Anyway. Double relationship gained by resolving issues with artisans, or a double relationship gained by resolving issues with merchants. And every caravan entering your town generates 20 gold income. Probably going to take that, I guess. If caravans even make it all the way to Dragonstone, I'm actually not entirely sure about that. Here we go. Athletics. This is where fun things start to happen. So we have a choice between increasing my control attribute by 1, or increasing my vigor attribute by 1. I'm actually thinking I'm going to go for strong here, because foot troops in your party giving +5% party speed, in my opinion, that is super powerful. So I'm going to go for that, which also increases my vigor attribute by 1. So we're going to go for that. There we go. And now we finally have our maxed out two-handed perk as well. So here we go. Increase your two-handed weapon damage by 10%, or your attacks ignore 25% of the enemy's armor. I'm going to actually take that, because I personally have more difficulties against higher armored targets than just, you know, dealing pure raw damage against unarmored targets. So in general, I'm going to be taking the one that makes me deal more damage against plate and all that stuff. Anyway, each skill point grants you speed increase and a damage increase with two-handed weapons. Way of the Great Axe. That is our final perk for the two-handed. And we're also going to be increasing my control skill. And we're going to be going for... yeah, what else are we going to be taking? I guess some trade skill. I have no idea. I have no idea why I'm doing that, but yes. Anyway, there you go. That's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.